Hello and welcome to In Your Neighborhood, a program that looks at various neighborhoods throughout the city and helps you to stay informed and up to date. We will be visiting Ward 1 today, and as our tour guide, he has his tour guide hat on, our counselor in Ward 1, that would be Dave McCarthy. Dave, welcome back.
Thanks, Mark. Pleasure to be here.
And congratulations on your re-election.
Yes, I think it was the first time in a long, long time I didn't have an opponent. So I'll take that. Probably the next time I'll have someone. So I'll take it while I can get it. But thank you very much.
And your political history here in the city, we were chatting a little bit about that prior to actually starting rolling, I would say rolling tape, but we don't roll tape anymore. Everything's digital nowadays.
Yeah, no, been doing it now for 20 years. First when Mayor Phelan was on, he appointed me to the Quarry Hills Advisory Board. When Quarry Hills, basically, the lease that we've been talking about back then was all construction, hours of operation, but there was the board to put together to get that off the ground. That was early on in his 2001, 2002, 2003, ran for school committee for 12 years, and now coming up on 8 years as Ward 1 counselor, which I enjoy.
I want to just address, you mentioned school committee, and there's no particular order to what we will be discussing today, but recent happenings in the city, the Richard DeCristofaro Learning Center.
Yes, and we were talking a little bit before we got on. A spectacular move by the mayor and Dr. DeCristofaro when they discussed that a few years back to go after something that's very comparable to South Shore Collaborative, which is located in Hingham. And a lot of people are familiar with South Shore Collaborative down in Hingham. It has all the bells and whistles that the DeCristofaro Center has now. OT, PT, the right type of rooms, the right type of training areas for kids, the bathroom facilities. It's just it's a unique thing for a municipality to have, but the mayor went out and thought we should do it with the amount of special education kids that we can assist close to home.
And the slated date for the actual center opening?
Well, they talked about going in January a little bit, but they're gonna, they'll slow roll it, talk to a lot of parents, make sure that everybody is on board on who's going to go in and who doesn't want to go in. Again, one of the points we talked about a few minutes ago, I'm sure that Kevin Mulvey and Erin Perkins will have a screening process to talk to parents that might want to bring their child back from South Shore Collaborative or from another institution outside the city, or stay there because they're very comfortable, which is that will happen if they want to stay there. No pressure on coming home, but they'll go through a process and figure it out. And I'm probably going to say, really, the beginning of the year they'll probably ease some things in, but I'm probably going to say not until the fall of next year they really get going full time.
And I think you and I also talked about this is actually a first for a municipality.
I think so. The mayor had said that too, and as far as we know in the area, it is. South Shore Collaborative is made up of towns that surround the collaborative. Hingham, Quincy, Weymouth, Braintree, etc. And it's made up of a lot of the superintendents are on the boards of South Shore Collaborative and work with them. But now we're going to be able to control our own school, have our own staff, a lot of folks from the Della Chiesa Early Childhood Center, an experienced staff, and add to it. So it's a great thing. Great thing.
We're going to spend time on C Street, since that's a major street in your ward. And there's a lot going on there. We can talk about the Mount Wollaston Cemetery and what's being done there. Then we'll move across the street and talk about the public safety headquarters.
Yes, and it's a 3-phase state-funded operation, where the first phase was the intersection at Quincy Shore Drive. The second phase will be from Quincy Shore Drive down to Palmer Street, where we redo the paving, bike lanes. We've relocated some poles, and we're just going to do C Street all the way down. The third phase that it's going on in unison with kind of the cemetery and the police station, the safety center, is that third phase right at the cemetery, where the front, which came out spectacular, and the flagpoles, the front of the cemetery just looks great. They're not done yet. They're still waiting for the gate to come in, which is going to be spectacular. Jewel, I think, another jewel for Quincy, where folks that cut through to go home to Hingham and Weymouth, I think, will be jealous when they go by that cemetery and it's lit up at night, those flags. But that'll be the third phased area, which will get done over also as the police station, the safety center gets done, which is starting to go up.
And I suppose part of that third phase and in that same area is Father Bill's mainspring.
Right, and that was something that we had to take care of first on Broad Street to allow Father Bill's to move over, take the building down, the old registry, the old Father Bill's. And
oh, that's right, it was the registry.
yes, it was the registry. I'm dating, I'm showing my age.
No, but I remember that too.
But we had to get that cleaned out so they could start some movement, especially with the gas pumps that were in the DPW. They moved them down across from Fratelli's, and we got that all set and got those all moved out so they could start laying the footprint for the safety center.
And I know Father Bill's, that facility, I don't know if it's a first, but it certainly is innovative.
Oh yeah, it's a housing resource. I think it's a great tool that they're going to have for the folks that frequent Father Bill's and be able to stay and get trained in there. A lot more educating will go on. The old Father Bill's was just a place to go and sleep and get up and leave. Yeah, and you'll have housing also over at this new Father Bill's, but it's just set up different more for success. Where before was we found a building years ago with Father Bill McCarthy, and we went for it, and it served its purpose. But this will really, I think, bring it up a notch in regards to those folks that need a little extra training and look to help them.
I remember Father Bill, I went to St. John's, and of course Father Bill was at St. John's, and I remember him saying that he hoped that there would be no need for Father Bill's down the line, but certainly that hasn't happened.
No, that hasn't happened. It's too bad. But I think the attention, people know that there's folks that need help. People know that.
People know that there's a system in place now.
Yes, and I think they're realizing that when that opens up, really opens up, and kicks in with all the options they're going to have.
Big thing is support services.
Yeah, they're going to be there. They're going to be support services, and it could be just some basic education that they need on basic jobs to get them going again. So I think it's great. It's great, and it's cleaned up Broad Street, which was tired. I'll put it that way. That was a tired street.
Not too far from where we're speaking, 105 C Street. I saw you often at the Zoning Board of Appeals on this particular piece of property. Yes,
105 C Street. We were there often. I think we got it right. I'm glad it's residential.
I guess talk about the process too, what it started at, and I suppose after listening to the community, what it ended. What its end result will be.
So there were numbers thrown all over the place, but officially when they went in at 24. There were numbers that were higher, but never really officially went in. They went in at 24, the developer, and we had two big meetings, one at the Fox and Hounds and one at Coddington, the Coddington building. I tried to get, tried to get an area that was big enough for I knew I'd have a good crowd. And one of the things with zoning is that one of the requirements is to do the 300-foot radius to the people that will be affected. But I thought it was unfair that that radius was where it was, because you had the reserve, the cemetery, and you'd only have a few houses on Overlook. So I asked that we send it all the way out to Marymount, which I think went all the way to Samoset at least, and encompassed a lot of people, so they knew what was going on, and the Marymount Association, to get into the meetings. And I think a lot of people in there were okay with development. They just wanted it smaller. So it went from 24 to 21 to 20 to 18, and then finally they came back with 15, and 15 works. I think that, again, we were talking commercial versus residential. A commercial entity there is just, it's a busy place. We know it's a busy place. We knew something was going to go there. And residential with 15 units, plenty of parking, you won't have that chaos of cars coming in and out all the time. Folks don't leave for work all at the same time or come home at the same time. A majority of people work from home now. You have to hit the requirement for parking, but you might have a lot more space than you think with people working from home.
And was there, I was just seeing if my memory serves me well, was there a restriction as to when you pull out, you couldn't take a left?
Right.
You could take a right.
Take a right. Yeah, that was something that everybody wanted to do, and everybody, I tried to get them also. It didn't happen, but I was trying to get that driveway, the length of the property, so you could come in one side as you were coming, say, up from the police station, and then go out the other side. They have a little turnaround there. They didn't go all the way, but I thought that would help, because same with the Fox and Hounds, you come in on the right side, they got it laid out that 99%, you hope all people, but 99% will go out on the right side. And it's C Street. It's busy. It's a busy area.
And for those folks that might be unfamiliar with this particular piece of property, it was a restaurant, actually 2 restaurant businesses in the past.
Right. Owned by the Lee family for years, China Star many moons ago, and then the Imperial Terrace for a long time. And it was at sometimes probably a dangerous spot for a restaurant, or anything that was very busy, because you were coming out all hours of the night. So I think this will really, once they're done taking it down, once they're done putting everything together, it'll all settle down and be a beautiful addition right there.
Let's talk about Heron Road and Lebrecht Field.
So Heron Road, we did a lot of work down there. And first of all, I'd like to thank the Adams Shore Association. Very involved. We try to involve them as much as we can in community talks when we're doing something major, and they're very good. It's a very good group. It's a small, tight-knit group. A lot of the people are in the neighborhood, and a lot of people are going to stay in that neighborhood, right, for a long time. But they've been in that neighborhood for a long time. The basketball court got done over. That was kind of a mess. But now
You said it sloped. So
it was sloped.
It gave one team an advantage.
Yeah, if you wanted to shoot at the low end, you had to get there first, and then the other team was in trouble. They were shooting at a hoop that was 20 feet up in the air. But now it's level, and the area is a tough area because of storms. The new seawall's in place. The drainage is better, but you're still going to get hammered over there, northeast storms, etc. So what we're thinking, Dave Murphy of Commissioner of Natural Resources, and we had asked, a lot of folks came back with some thoughts, but it was almost like a passive park, but a park that was tough enough to withstand the weather. So we're looking to put down stone, we're looking at down plantings, maybe some eelgrass, some big rocks, a few benches, and make it into a nice quiet area in there the best we can. Anything we try to put in there that would be fragile at all, it it's a tough area when winter shows up. Even a hurricane or whatever, it's tough.
And maybe some plantings that will absorb water.
Yes, yes, and I think the drainage down there with the seawall, we had looked at some of the drainage, which is always I always say that's the big factor with the seawall. Water is always going to come over, even if it's not, if it hits the wall and goes up, it blows over. Rainwater, drainage is big, and I think we've improved it down there.
LeBrec Field.
LeBrec was a field, part of the mayor's program of hitting most of the major parks and giving them a renovation. We moved the playground that was out back at Hawthorne Street, which was very tough. It's a dead-end street, and if you wanted to use it, a lot of people with small kids would want to go down Hawthorne and park, and there just wasn't enough room. So when we had the chance to move it up to the front, we moved it up to the front. We adjusted the basketball courts. Now you can park in the church parking lot, and it's right there. And it's really spectacular. It's a great playground. It's used all the time. Put a walking path in, put benches in. I think we have a few more trees to plant and a few more things to do, but it came out really good. And that's an area, too, that has some majestic views of the creek and the marshes. And, you see the people down there out for their walks or out there with their dogs and etc. It's just that was enough for LeBrec to get that kind of makeover. I didn't want to ruin it at all and go, a little bit overboard with things that would be too much in that parkland. Keep that open space and keep that same feeling down there that they have. It came out really well.
How often do you think of seawalls?
Seawalls, nightmares.
Yeah. We're talking about, I guess, phase 2 at this point.
Yeah, and phase 2, first of all, phase 1, great success from the Willows to Chickatobit. Took a little longer than usual. Had to wrestle with some contractors here and there, but at the end, it all came out good. And again, the drainage on C Street, the drainage on some of the side streets, Post Island, up into Adams Shore, a great success.
And the height changed. Correct?
The height went up 2 feet.
2 feet.
And we still have the option, if we had to, down the road. We might not be around down the road, but it could go up another 2. It's built that way to have 2 feet mounted on the top. 4 feet was, to me and a lot of people, was high. You're on the water. You want to enjoy the water. A 4-foot wall on top of the existing seawall was high.
Well, especially where, I guess, it's built in that it could go higher.
Right. We wanted that option, and that's the same thing that's going to happen from the Willows down to Perry Beach.
Which is phase 2.
Phase 2, which is a little different. The beginning that starts at the Willows and starts onto Manat Ave, there's a low end right there at the beginning coming off of C Street. Then Manat Ave, as a lot of people knows, it elevates. So the water isn't a problem after the first 3 or 4 houses, but that low area we got to take a good look at, right at the beginning. And again, drainage and thought process will kick in. And then going up all the way down to, you get up to a side street called Oswego, which is at the very top of Manat Ave. You're really thinking of reinforcing the seawall, putting in a new seawall, making it 2 feet higher, but for erosion purposes. It won't bother anybody. No one really sees the seawall. But you really need to take a look from the beach side, and you'll see the wear and tear, the rebar, the cement that's fallen off. Part of the wall is tilted. It's time. And it still take a while. We're still probably 12 months plus out. I grabbed a few stats here that were 25% design, and that'll happen probably in early December, which will be 25%. We'll get a cost estimate. And then once funding's in place, we'll be able to come back and have 90% design, so we'll get an idea of everything. And we'll probably start, in 12 months, maybe the spring of 2025. Next year will be a lot of more work by Tetra Tech, which is the company involved, along with Al Grazioso and Paul Costello, and those guys do a great job. And they'll start the whole process, and we'll have a few community meetings also to talk to some of the folks. We had some great coffee hours that I had down in Ward 1 on Manor Ave during my campaign. And a lot of people were able to ask questions about that. What about the seawall? I thought that was an important place to have some meet and greets. It's not the official community meeting, but we try to invite some people and get a jump on it, because people would say, how high, where's it going to go, when's it going to start, etc. So all good stuff.
That's the update. Let's talk about a ladder truck in Housneck.
The ladder truck away for 30 years. It's a big plus for not only Housneck, but all of Ward 1. As the mayor had said when he was talking, he makes a great point that you don't think of, we got another fire truck. But we also got, on every shift, four more men. And regardless of the fire, the size of the fire, you've got more men, more capability down there now, that you've doubled everything. So if you do have a fire anywhere, you've got the cavalry there at Housneck now, but with both trucks. To assist anywhere, but really cover the ward if they have to.
Well, the city has over 100,000 people living in it, so certainly that would necessitate more public safety. Right,
and down the neck too, the neck especially with the hill, Great Hill, there's some difficult houses up there that are very high and set back that the ladder truck will probably come into place if we ever have an issue. I hope we don't, in regards to some strange locations where they can get at it and do a better job.
Upcoming for the council will be a comprehensive rezoning of the entire city, something that wasn't looked at for about 50 years.
No, and I tried to, I know that Councilor Yang had mentioned it, and I had mentioned it as a ward councilor. I had spoken at one meeting where I wanted to see, when we get to this point, before we start, to have the ward councilors look at their wards and kind of get an idea, work with planning, Director Fatsis, talk a little bit about zoning with the administration, and look at their hot spots that are in their areas. Like just for instance, Housneck. I have a Business B area that has been Business B for a long time, down behind Off the Hook, the old Louis, and
next to the Maritime.
In the Maritime area, but it's predominantly all houses now. It really isn't. There's not going to be any businesses popping up, and I'd like to see if I could change that. I don't want to get into having an issue of saying, well, you're spot zoning, which you can't do. So I've always looked at that, because I don't want anybody down there. It's okay to develop, and it's okay to add on, and you might have a two-family where a two-family is now, but it's a pretty congested area. And then you come up C Street and you head all the way up, when you go by the Willows on the left, that's all Res B all the way up until you get to Adams Shore. Then it's Business A all the way up, but predominantly everything in the neighborhoods is Res A, which is a good thing for me. Quincy Point, Ward 2, Ward 4, different story. A lot of things in there, a whole variety pack. So it'll be a challenge, because folks have purchased parcels or businesses or buildings on purpose, to maybe benefit down the road. And now you're going to change things on them. So you want to make sure that's all vetted out there. There'll probably be a few public hearings on that, but that's a big undertaking, but we should get it right, because there's places that were there in the past but aren't there now that should be changed.
As we end this program, I do want to talk about the Good Neighbor Honor Awards night. A fellow councilman
Yes.
Michael Cheney was recognized and awarded I don't believe, was it a plaque that evening?
Oh yeah,
it was a plaque.
There were 3 recipients. The HouseNet Community Council puts it back on. They hit a few bumps in the road because of COVID the last couple of years, so they had a great crowd there. Mike Cheney got the Distinguished Senior Award. Mike had done not only the council work, but involved in HouseNet from day one, from when he landed, day one, always involved.
And people will remember, I believe, First Night Quincy was
Mike
his.
Cheney. Yeah, definitely all Mike Cheney. And then you had Pam Wallace, who got the civic contribution. And Pam was the type that would just go out and do it on her own. Clean Edgewater Drive, clean the Crusher. Give me a call and tell me she needs a city truck because she has 7 or 8 bags to pick up.
So there's pride in the city right there.
Oh yeah, and she grew up in that area. She lives down right on Darrow Street, Darrow and Macy. She grew up on Spring, so that's her area. And finally, Brandon Bergstrom. The Bergstroms have been in the neck forever. Brandon owns the auto body place on the corner of C and Bell, and Brandon involved in everything. A guy who doesn't shy away from anything, hard worker. He's only 30 years old, but he's definitely made a name for himself. And they just all rally around each other down there, and which is a great thing.
Congratulations to all 3, definitely. As we end this program, we do have time for just one other note, and I guess we'll look at, we're coming into the holiday season. You do have a date for the HouseNet tree lighting.
Yeah, it's that Sunday, December 10th. If I don't have that.
So
yeah,
that's
December 10th.
December 10th. Okay.
December 10th is Sunday. They're going to have something new. I think they're going to do a historic presentation at the HouseNet Congregational Church before they go over and light. Well, now they're going to light the lobster pots. The tree's gone. So they've got a lobster pot. They did it last year. Lobster pot tree that they light up now.
Oh, that's it. Oh, okay. I do remember seeing
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Dave DeBona has done a great job as president. And he gets the HouseNet folks to jump in and contribute. And they put it together. And it was quite nice last year. And then there'll be other tree lightings, and I'll try to keep everybody apprised on social media. Adam Shore has their tree lighting at the Circle, O'Hara Circle, and Germantown will have their tree lighting down at the Circle, down at Taffreel and Palmer. I'm not sure on the dates. I don't know if it's the weekend before or they're all going to be on that weekend.
Okay.
But
people should be on the lookout.
Yeah, they should be on the lookout.
And I guess we're at the end. I did want to mention, I know your ward does come into the downtown a bit, correct?
Yes, sir.
Does it involve the skating rink?
No, sir, but that's
good for the entire city.
Yeah, yeah.
So residents of Ward 1,
I mean, there's going to be some
2.
time before the medical center and things kick in over there, but they're starting to kick in. And why not put that up there, because it's well lit. There's plenty of parking.
It's a little Rockefeller Center.
Little Rockefeller Center.
Right. Counselor, thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
me.
Mark.
And hopefully you'll be back in short order.
Yes, hopefully. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome back. And thank you at home for watching, and please continue to watch Quincy Access Television and support us for more programming, community programming just like this.
Thanks.